All right, today guys, we want to talk about the Lexus GX550 Overtrail Plus, what I would consider the modern G Wagon replacement. All right, so starting here at the front of the GX550 Overtrail Plus, this vehicle is already a super capable vehicle right from the factory. It comes with a lot of awesome tech, and it comes with a lot of awesome off-road features. So it's built truly to be an off-road overlanding vehicle. What we've done here with this build is we basically accentuated the good that Lexus has already provided. So on the front end, we got a few key components. So first thing is we put on our CBI off-road covert front bumper. This is a really cool bumper because it does not require any cutting or modification on the front end, yet you still get a lot of great improvements. Some of those improvements are better ground clearance. So not only here in the front, but also on the wings, you substantially increase the ground clearance over the factory bumper. And then you also get protection in all the key areas where it matters most. So again, basically from wheel well to wheel well, all the way around the front, you have metal protection for an off-road bumper. One thing I really like about this bumper is it's extremely lightweight. So the way we've designed and engineered this bumper, it'll hold up to abuse. It's a great recovery point, but it's super lightweight. So you're not adding a lot of heavy, cantilevered weight on the front end that's gonna make your suspension perform differently or not quite the way it should. A couple other cool features is we've got, of course, a winch mount, so you can fit up to a 12,000 pound winch in here. We're running a Warn Xeon 10S winch, so it's a 10,000 pound winch with the synthetic line. We've got our billet machined fair lead, and then a Factor 55 flat link E, the expert version here on the front. Super clean setup. This is kind of my go-to for winches on the front. Those winch hooks are just kind of clunky. You're either hooking them onto your D-ring and dinging it up and scraping it up, and it looks funny. So really, I think a flat link is the way to go as far as the winch goes. It also has a built-in spot for a 30-inch single row light bar. We're running the Rigid SR series. This is their new amber light bar. So it is an amber lens, and that 30-inch, you can see it just fits in there perfectly. It's super snug. Bumper, of course, has machine D-rings, so that's a CBI off-road specific item on the D-ring. So they're machined here on the edges, so you can put a soft shackle in. It's not gonna cut your soft shackle or break it or destroy it over a few uses. Really nice feature. These D-rings are built right into the structure in the back of the bumper that goes right to the frame rails. So you have a positive connection from the frame all the way out to this recovery point. And then of course, same thing with the winch. That's all integrated into the structural integrity of the bumper between the frame rails. And so again, you have that strength that you need for recovery situations. One other thing is underneath, we've got our full aluminum skid plates. We do offer aluminum and steel in this skid plate package. We decided to go with aluminum. It's 1/4 inch aluminum. Again, built really robust so it can handle the beating that it's gonna take underneath, but also save you some weight. My go-to when it comes to skid plates is really the aluminum option, because you're almost half the weight of steel with very comparable protection from that standpoint. So that's the front bumper. Again, great option. I think it really provides the necessary protection that you need on the front end of this vehicle. Everything else on the front end is totally factory. The GX550, of course, has an awesome look to it. So moving on to the side here, let's talk suspension and wheels and tires for a second. So suspension, we're running the Peak suspension. Their 2-piece kit on the front. So it's a top plate spacer and a spring adapter. The benefit of this is it really allows that shock to function in its peak parameters. So you're not overextending it on the top side or overextending it on the bottom. It really keeps it right in that sweet spot. So that's what we're running on the front here. It's about a 2¼ inch lift on the front, which is a great fitment if you want to run like a 285/75, which would be a 33, maybe 34-inch tire, or even if you want to go up to a 35 like we have. So this is the Falcon AT4W in a 35/12/50/20. One of my all-time favorite tires. This tire works really well here in Idaho because we get a lot of snow and ice in the winter, and the siping that's on this tire just makes a huge difference for winter traction. As far as the wheels, we went totally bougie on this one with the Vossen, the HFX-1. It's a hybrid forged wheel. This is a 20/9 inch wheel size, and it's a +18 offset. So it's a little on the aggressive side, I would say, for a GX. If you want more of a flush fit, you probably need to go to a +25 or +30, somewhere in that range. But I still think it's a really nice fit for the GX and gives it a solid stance. The wheels are awesome, of course, a little bit of a pain to clean, but man, they look sweet. The other thing, going back to suspension on here, is we're running the Peak Suspension tubular upper control arms. So those feature a Teflon bearing, and it's a pro bearing part. It's super quiet. That's the one thing I really like about these upper control arms. And of course, you get the added benefit for better alignment and better off-road performance, more articulation in the suspension. So that's what we got on the front end. Moving back here, we've got our CBI ditch light brackets with the rigid adapt lights, and this is another favorite of mine on this vehicle. I just love how sleek and tight the ditch light brackets are, tucked into the A-pillar there. You could run a big light as well on these ditch light brackets, which is pretty nice. And it doesn't block your view coming out the front, as the driver or the passenger. Plus it puts the lights in a pretty good spot. We've got them just slightly off of center from pointing straight out from the front of the vehicle. It's a pretty decent spot and where I usually like them. Sometimes, if anything, I'll just angle them out even more so I'm getting more spread on the side of the road. But that's the benefit of a ditch light bracket, is you can just set the light up however you want and wherever you want as far as the direction it's pointing, and get that functionality out of it. Continuing on, we've got the CBI standard rock sliders. So again, these are a flat 0-angle slider bolted directly to the frame. Because they're frame mounted, they will support the weight of the vehicle. They are a true rock slider. And then the other thing I really like is, because they're flat, they work as a great step to get up to the roof rack or to get in and out of the vehicle. We do make these in a kick out option, but I think the standard rock slider is a great setup on the GX here. It's very functional, but very sleek and kind of OEM plus looking. Speaking of the roof rack, of course, we have the Prinsu Pro roof rack on here. Again, a direct bolt-on application for this vehicle. There's no cutting or drilling required. This roof rack is it has our light bar cutout wind deflector on the front, and you can get that, of course, either way, however you want to configure your light bar. We're running a rigid SR40 on this, and it's their changeable light bar, so you can change the backlighting on it, which is kind of cool if you want to go with some cool colors, and it'll do the standard white light out the front. So it's got in the center the spotlights, and then on the sides it has the floodlights. So you get a pretty good spread out in front of you with that light bar. Nothing mounted on the roof rack right now. Typically we'll mount a rooftop tent or some boxes, maybe some Max Tracks or things like that, but don't have anything mounted up there right now. One thing I should point out with the roof rack is your sunroof is fully functional with the roof rack. So the slide and the tilt features still work just as they should. There's no impact there, and the roof rack's compatible with a lot of your accessories for like skiing, kayaking, biking, any of that kind of stuff. Moving on, we have our window panels here on the back. This is another really cool accessory with the Prinsu roof rack. It's probably one of those accessories that goes unnoticed sometimes, but is extremely valuable if you're looking for additional storage space. So a lot of times if we have a rooftop tent on the roof rack, that's gonna take up all or the majority of the roof rack space. These window panels make it possible to add some of that extra gear that you're gonna wanna take. So our typical configuration is some max tracks on the side, and then some roto packs for fuel and water, or just fuel. And that's exactly how we have this one set up. On this side, we have the max tracks bolted on. On the other side, we have the roto packs for water and fuel. But these window panels, I mean, they just work so great. They're a simple add-on, and you can carry a lot of you know, things that you wouldn't want to put in your vehicle on these window panels, and just adds a lot of space to your storage. So I really like that. One other thing too, I didn't talk about the rear suspension on this vehicle, but again, this is part of the Peak suspension kit. So we're running a 2-inch spacer on the rear here. And the way we have this one set up currently, it's perfect. It has just a very, very slight rake. I think it's about a 1/2 inch. So that way we have some room to play in the rear when we load it out for trips. But a very level look as well for normal everyday driving. So that's the components on the side. Let's walk around to the rear and I'll show you a few other things that we've done to this. So on the back, we have our Prinsu rear ladder. This is another great accessory, especially with the roof top tent on the roof rack. We're typically running a clamshell style roof rack. And so because of that, the rooftop tent will, you know, flip up towards the back. With this ladder, we don't have to carry an additional ladder for the tent. We can use our ladder here to get in and out of the rooftop tent on the back. Works really well. You have a nice spot to step and stand right on the top here and get in and out of the tent. Works great too if you've got boxes up there or other storage gear that you want to get up and down, then the ladder is a great solution. It's very lightweight, it's only 17 pounds, works perfect with the rear power lift gate. And you can see it's just super strong. I mean, it's just solid on there. So it's a great option for overlanding and off-roading. One of my favorite accessories, plus it just looks cool. Definitely gives it that off-road overlanding look. And then the last thing that we have here on the back is our CBI off-road rear bumper. This is a really cool rear bumper as well, in my opinion. Super low profile, very OEM plus looking. I think it fits the vehicle or the shape of the vehicle perfectly. You don't have to do any trimming on the plastics. There's a couple little components on the internal side that you have to trim up just to create that additional clearance. But other than that, it's a pretty easy install. Again, you have your soft shackle compatible D-rings, and they mount directly to the end of the frame. You have a spot for rear lights, so we're running the SRM flush mounts in the diffused light pattern here on the rear. And then you have your factory receiver hitch access right here. So that's just a simple plate that you can take off and on. We've got the plate on because we're not towing right now, and just gives it that really nice finished look. The bumper itself does wrap around to the rear wheel wells, goes all the way to the rear wheel wells. So you have protection again, all the way around the rear. Not only does it mount to the frame here in the center, and the bumper is engineered, designed for structural integrity through the center, but it also has mounting points on the sides that go back to the frame. So you're fully supported all the way around. So if you're coming off a rock or a log, you know, off of one of these back tires and hit that bumper hard, you're gonna be protected. And that's the point of it, is just to create that protection so you're not damaging the body of the vehicle. This vehicle is very much an OEM plus kind of build. So it's really retaining a lot of the look of the GX550 and then adding the components that we feel are necessary for off-road and overland travel. But if you want to take it to the extreme, then you can add our swing arms onto this. So they're a bolt-on application. They bolt right onto this bumper. You can add them at any time, and then you can get that additional storage capacity here on the back for a spare tire, for additional fuel, max tracks, whatever it is. and that's a dual swing arm setup is how that would work. So that's our GX550. It's such an awesome vehicle. Again, you know, in my time growing up, the G Wagon was always the vehicle that was like the luxury off-road performance vehicle. It was the vehicle everybody wanted. In my mind, with the GX550 here, you're getting an even better vehicle for about half the price, and you can still put all this cool stuff on it. And it's incredible how functional this vehicle is. It just performs really well, and Lexus killed it on the looks, in my opinion. It's just one of the best looking off-road luxury vehicles out there. So hopefully you like that. Hopefully that gave you some ideas for your own Lexus build. And be sure and follow along. We're gonna take this vehicle out more on the trail, and we have lots of awesome vehicles that are part of our fleet. And we look forward to you following along, and we'll see you out on the trail.